going to drop the transmission all in one piece down in there, because it's the one of the shafts has a very long bit that goes down. So here we go. We're sort of going back to the drawing board now with the gearbox there. I don't know if I missed something in the manual. I mean, I read and reread, but it just sort of wasn't fitting together just like I thought it was going to. And so I've gone back through my pictures, and we're missing a whole bloody gear off the bottom. I don't know what it's called, but it's not part of the gearbox as such. It sort of sits down the bottom there. And so now I'm going to take it all apart and do it again. Okay, take two. I've got the right gear now, I think, in the right spot. Well, it's definitely in the right spot. I've looked at my pictures, so now it's a matter of keeping these together, hopefully, in the right spots without losing too much stuff on the way down. Woo! Now that feels better. Man, that is such a relief. This was what I was really worried about, this part here, getting the gearbox in. But it's all in. Took a bit of Googling and figuring out and whatever. But we got there in the end. This shift drum took a bit of, with the shift fork things, working out where they go on these little, I don't know, groove parts here. Took a little bit of working out. But it's all in, it's all good, so we're just going to put the two cases together now, and hopefully later down the track when I go to shift the gears it all works. I guess we'll see, hey. Case is ready to go together now. Got the gasket on. It said to lay a little bit of grease. I don't know, I just on the sealing surfaces where the gasket goes. So I did that. I would have assumed it would have been silicone, but I don't know. There was no silicone there, I guess, when I took the cases apart, so. And now we're ready to put the two sides of the cases together. Just gonna watch that little bearing bit there. Oh. Gently, gently. Slowly, slowly. Come on. We don't need any of that big movement, thank you. Ooh. Now, here's the test to see if this baby wants to move around or not. Don't know whether it will. Starting to put the shifter stuff back together now, and it's just calling for me to rotate the engine while shifting through the gears. So the actual crank's a bit tight. I don't know if it's just all the new bearings and seals and whatever, but I've got to actually get a nut on here to turn it, so we'll see. We will see. You can just see that it's flicking through all the gears nicely there when I'm turning the countershaft. And go back, down gears. And that must be first. Yep. I can't find neutral. I don't know if that's supposed to be able to or not, but I can't find neutral at the moment. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, so here's a super vital bit of information if anyone else is doing an engine rebuild and they get a hot rods crank. Now in the crank, my old crank here, you can see there's this little groove, and all I could see when this was bashed in there basically was this key sticking out, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out where mine new one had a groove like that, and the old one had the key. I thought it was all over. But that's called a Woodruff key, and you just insert it into the new crank. Woo! There we go. 100 Newton meters. Very good, very good, very good. Well, I've got all the clutch plates in and pressure plates and blah blah blah, whatever else, and so now I'm just doing up the springs and bolts that go in to the clutch housing. Everything's on and in and done and whatever else, so now I'm just going through and doing up all the clutch cover bolts. Everything's been gasketed and whatever else, so yeah, it's going pretty well. So my bike's already got the vent mod on the stator cover here. On this grommet here, there's a hole drilled through and a vent that comes through, and that goes all the way up to the sort of top and vents into the airbox, and down the bottom here where there's normally a little drain, that gets blocked off as well. So this is a sealed unit then, which is not normally on the factory bikes, and you actually run a little bit of oil in there. So you can use anything, transmission fluid or just some lightweight fork oil, and you just run, I don't know, 30 to 60 mils in there, just a little bit. It just helps out the starter motor. So that's the wet mod, and you can look that up if you want to read more into it. The motor's pretty much back together everywhere apart from the top end. I've sort of gone over and checked everything and whatever else, so it's now time to fit the engine into the bike again, the bottom end at least, so we can start to do the top end. That is the engine back in, well, the bottom end anyway, and just got to keep plugging along now and plugging things in, literally plugging things in and putting things back on, and do a redo on the carby lines too. Look at these fancy things going yellow instead of these old haggard things, orange I should say. Putting orange ones on instead of these old haggard things, starting to split and whatever, so I'll do that as well.